Clinton and Shannon are back for week 5, and this time they go outside Chiefs Kingdom, but within the Red Kingdom media family. Braxton gives his thoughts on being an Eagles fan and the previous and upcoming Chiefs showdowns in view. All that on the home of the Chiefs.
Welcome, Chiefs Kingdom. Thanks for tuning in to this Red Kingdom media production, bringing you raw, authentic Chiefs coverage. Make sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date on your team. Now sit back and enjoy the show.
Cheese. Or I guess our guest can fill us in on what the chant is for his team here in a second. But welcome to the Home of the Chiefs podcast, where the Chiefs are our home. We are your hosts, Clinton and Shannon, and joined with us this week, as I mentioned here in the intro, we are going outside of Chiefs Kingdom to have our first guest, where instead of talking about the home of the Chiefs, they get to talk about the Fly Eagles Fly instead. That would be the equivalent podcast name, but we get to have all the guests on this show because that's partly what we want this show to be about. But I am rambling and delaying the point that our special guest is Mr. Braxton Schefter. Go ahead and say what's up to the people and let them know how you're doing today.
Hey everybody, Braxton Schefter. I'm doing pretty good today. It's been an interesting month of football so far. Been a real good month, but pretty good so far.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Tuesday, as this is being released, the month of September has officially come and gone. And the home team in red that we represent are officially 4-0. And we will talk about that game that made that happen here in the second segment. But it was important that we continue to run through our Red Kingdom media family in terms of our guests. And this is the first instance where the team that we are going to discuss in segment number 1 is not going to be the Chiefs. So let that be kind of a warning to those out there. But I'm not saying that as a reason to skip because, hey, it's important to learn about all fan bases and learn about the similarities and differences. And I think all that kind of brings us together. So I just wanted to give you guys a warning out there. But it doesn't mean that, Braxton doesn't know his Chief stuff. I mean, here in a second, when I kind of ask him a question, he works for us, and we are a Chiefs entity right now. So he's very ingrained in the community already. And when I ask him a couple more questions, you'll find out his region as well. So it's clear that, the Chiefs are tied to him in some capacity. So we couldn't neglect, our editor here. So let's go ahead and officially start topic number 1, which has to do with you backing the Eagles. And I'm going to delay that even a little further because I want you to kind of tell the people how you ended up joining up with Red Kingdom Media.
So it was kind of like a funny story. I had been watching you guys for about a year now. Just been seeing you guys' post on Facebook and stuff. And I was like, you know what? Given that you guys, beat us in the Super Bowl, beat San Fran in the Super Bowl, I was like, you know what? I have to see what this success is all about. But I had inboxed Dale a few months ago at the beginning of summer. And I was like, hey, I'm kind of interested in joining you guys in any capacity. And that's where I just kind of started writing for you guys and editing and stuff. But it was kind of weird just inboxing, a Chiefs fan. And, not that I have any beef with you guys. I understand we lost the Super Bowl and stuff. But it was just more of just my thirst to, trying to be in like the sports media related business, and just seeing what the organization was about.
Yeah,
That's so cool.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm happy to hear that an opponent that the Chiefs have beaten and the fan base has been able to turn you positively, and other people would kind of be bitter around it, but that's you took that and turned it positive, and you turned that on its head, and like you said, trying to get into a place that you've never been before, and that makes me excited to hear, because that's the type of platform that we hope that Red Kingdom Media gets to be.
Exactly. We want to go to that point where it's like everyone knows who we are, and we go to like special events and stuff, and definitely like excited to have you along for the ride.
Right. And then being able to potentially branch off other entities to cover all the various teams and parts of the leagues and other sports, and just be able to let people live out their dreams.
Oh yeah.
And saying that there's nothing holding you back. We just gotta build it together and show a little teamwork. So before I officially start pivoting to the Eagle questions, who in your like family and inner circle are Chief centric? Because I think there's something else, and maybe some other reasons as well, that maybe you're still like kind of drawn to the Chiefs too.
So I would say, like, to be honest with you, all of my family is diehard Chiefs fans. I grew up, I'm 26 years old. My first 21 years of living, I spent, in Kansas City, Missouri, I would say, deep in the heart of Kansas City. And I just didn't grow up a Chiefs fan. I don't know why. Well, it's a long story, but my mom, she's a huge Chiefs fans. All three of my older brothers are Chiefs fans. My uncles, my aunties, little cousins, older cousins, all Chiefs fans. And there's just me, the anomaly. It's kind of a funny story. I got older cousins that are probably 10 years older than me, and around that time, like growing up, like no shade or anything, the Chiefs weren't viewed as like one of those top teams in the league. And me going to my cousin's house and watching like the big games on Monday Night Football and Sunday Night Football, we'll watch that on ABC and stuff like that. And the Eagles were like a prominent team around that time. And I would say specifically 2006, 2007, I started personally being into media and stuff and playing video games, and specifically 2K5, the one with T.O. on the cover, that was everything to me. And I was just blown away by the offense. I was blown away by Donovan McNabb, him being a short quarterback, him being a short black quarterback, was just like, okay, maybe I could do that. And, just watching his highlights, and specifically watching like Randall Cunningham highlights, I was just instantly hooked. And I guess we're all at like at like a teenage stage, like right before we hit high school. It's like you got to pick your team, before that. And I was just like, there's not a fan base that connects with me personally, growing up with brothers, like brotherly love type stuff. It was just like, I'm an Eagles fan, bro. But like I said, most of my family are diehard Chiefs fans, like to the fullest.
Well, that would make sense, and there's some newfound respect there, because you're the rebel of the family.
Oh yeah.
You're the lone wolf, that you're the renegade of the family. They converted everybody else, but you stayed firm in your beliefs, and so you have to tip your cap there, because you're sticking with your team. You had your fascination with them, and then you ride that throughout. So
Mhm.
and you're right. It comes to a point where you just dedicate your certain fandom to a team, and no matter what, you're like, I'm sticking with it. And
Yep.
you can have some other fascination teams, and maybe the Chiefs are a fascination point for you, but you still have your diehard, like in your heart team. So that's awesome to hear that
Oh yeah.
kind of origin story. So
Yep.
now
Cool.
time for the nitty gritty. When would you say you officially started becoming an Eagles fan?
I would say officially, my freshman year in high school. Um, a lot of people would be like, saying, who's the team, obviously, of, today's game and stuff. And a lot of people were Patriots fans. There were a few Packers fans I know, just like a lot of top teams and stuff. And I was just like, you know what? When Michael Vick was playing for us, and just like the period after that, like when Deshaun Jackson was traded, LaShawn McCoy was traded, I had to sit there and defend my team back in freshman year. Like, hey, I believe in this organization, what they're doing. But like I said, man, it was really just a lot of the fan base and really just like a lot of the media around that. But I would say freshman year was that was when it kind of was like, all right, I'm an Eagles fan, bro. I'm gonna look up everything Eagles related.
I get that. Yeah, once you start liking a team, you need to digest everything there is to know about them.
Yeah, that's him.
Just like a mini question, what are your thoughts about like Andy Reid, and how do you and other like Philly fans feel about Andy Reid now, especially after kind of the results of the Super Bowl?
To be honest with you, man, like I'm 100% happy for him. Like the minute I always like joke with I'm saying, Chiefs fans and stuff, but like y'all still are players, our coaches a lot of times, I'm saying, we've done that once, but I'm saying, it worked out. But nah, Big Red, man, like that dude, he was special when he was with us. The only criticism obviously I had, didn't win the big games, I'm saying, it was the clock management. But I'm saying, him just going over to Kansas City and just absolutely transforming the whole town, the whole team, is just inspiring to see. And to me, like, you can't discredit him outside of being a top 5 coach of all time. He has the accolades now. It's happy. I'm so happy for him. I just seen that I think with the win or something, he now has more wins with the Chiefs than with the Eagles and stuff. Like, what I'm saying? It makes sense. Like, I'm saying, was with us for a long time, drafted McNabb, got Vic, I'm saying, a lot of talented guys and stuff, man. But just seeing him have the success with the Chiefs is just absolutely inspiring. So I'm 100% happy for him. Do I think he can get the 3-peat? Hey, it's definitely in the realm of possibilities. Like, if he's the first coach to do that, I'll be 100% even more happy for him. So nothing but respect for him.
And Chiefs Kingdom is lucky to have Andy Reid. And yes, you are in fact correct that Andy officially has more wins for this franchise than Philadelphia, and he's had this franchise for about 2 less years. I think that's and he was able to win early on, of course, under Alex Smith. So, he was able to turn the roster around completely. But it just talks about Patrick Mahomes and what he does, and from your perspective, what he's done to opposing teams. But he's been the difference maker, and I think as good as McNabb or Vic were, they just weren't in that top 5 at any given point in the league level of quarterback play. And especially now in modern era, it almost feels like a requirement for that, even if they're not necessarily playing the level that you would expect of them. Like say Patrick Mahomes is doing it right now.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at his track record, he can still put you to shame, and he's still capable of doing so and kind of flicking that switch whenever it happens. But like at times he's able to kind of coast through it, So that's what it takes to get to the championship level in the league right now. And yeah, I think you're right that Andy still has some time management issues, and that'll always be his number one weakness.
Yeah.
But I think he's got players around him that exactly. He has players around him that can keep him honest and can make sure that they're not going to let a moment slip by that shouldn't, or an opportunity wasted. So, Braxton, tell us what is a game day routine for you when it comes to watching a Philadelphia Eagles?
To be honest with you, I know it's a little bit weird, but I don't want to exist to anybody in the world on Sunday. As soon as I wake up, which is about probably 2-3 hours before the game, I just put my phone on do not disturb. You know what I'm saying? I get some water. I play a game of Madden. Not with my team, of course. I play obviously with the team I'm playing against somebody else. Just to be early scouting or whatever. And then kind of like my ego. I just give him a little bald head right there. Give him a little touch. But outside of that, it's really just kind of focusing in. Honestly, I'm just super focused on the game, who's being injured for my team, who's being out for the other team, the matchups, obviously, I look into a lot of that. But really, I just try to ignore the whole world for at least that little time period of hour. But it's really just a focus and moment mentality for me. Just try to see what's our key matchups and stuff. But I'm just invisible to everyone. I don't exist. I am a void of all conversations. I'm just invisible to everybody.
Any rituals or uniforms or special meals or anything like that, special details about game watching or after the game that you like to share?
Like I said, more than anything, I just try to make sure I give him a little rub on top of the head just for a little good luck just before the game, just a few hours out before the game, because you don't want to do it about an hour out. You're just I don't know. With me personally, I just try to stick to that little routine. As soon as I wake up, all right, get some water, refresh, hydrate. You know what I'm saying? Get a little rub in, get a little Madden in sometimes. Quite frank, honestly, I've just been playing NCAA a little bit, but outside of that, that would be my game day ritual. Just a little rub to the head and a little Madden.
Okay, what's important is you believe that it works, so therefore it does. So if you got to do it, you got to do it. So, you already mentioned that your uncles were kind of that main reason that you kind of got into the Philadelphia Eagles. So I'll kind of bypass that one. Who is your all time and also your current favorite Philadelphia Eagles player?
All-time favorite Eagles player. I would say it's kind of a tie between. There's three. I would say there's I'm sorry, but I would say it's Donovan McNabb. He's to me, he's one of the most underrated quarterbacks of all time. Randall Cunningham, I think he's the model. He was the model for what a lot of quarterbacks are today. Strong arm, mobile, kind of tall, 6'4", with a lot of speed, but he was very underrated back then. And of course, to me, one of the greatest safeties of all time, Brian Dawkins, absolute animal. But I would say like Donovan McNabb, he really kind of drew me in to be like a Eagles fan today. Like he was a winning quarterback. Like I said, he had a little strong arm. He kind of reminded me of Russell Wilson in his prime. Someone who wouldn't throw for 4,000 a year. He career high, probably 3,900. He was one of the first quarterbacks to throw for 30 touchdowns, less than 10 picks in the season. Like, he was efficient, but you know what I'm saying, of course, winning them big games, you have to. But I would say now my favorite Philadelphia Eagle, obviously Jalen Hurts. He's to me one of the better quarterbacks in today's top 5, top 10 quarterback. A lot of people are asleep on offensive linemen. I like a lot of offensive linemen play. Lane Johnson. Obviously Jason Kelsey is retired. Would have been number 1, but Lane Johnson is a model for what tackles should be. He's strong, he's stout, and he shuts the best stars out. So I love Lane Johnson.
And there's another point in your favor, because I also love people that love offensive linemen. It's their favorite because it shows that you're not just going for the flashy, shiny thing. That sometimes the dirty work is kind of where all the magic happens, and where more of the attention needs to be drawn to. So that kind of stands out a lot. It makes sense for you. So my final question that I have for you, because we kind of already kind of pointed at it here and there, but if you could bring back one Eagle for your team, who would you be? And then also, we would be remiss if we didn't talk about how you were able to overcome some Eagles defeats, let alone the Super Bowl in particular, but just in general. You mentioned down years already. So how are you able to kind of overcome through those? So who's the Eagles player you want on your team right now, and how do you overcome the down times and the down years of the Eagles, and how do you stay firm in your fandom?
If there was one Eagle I could bring back, to be honest, he should be 100% a Hall of Famer. A lot of people are slept on him. One of the best players of the early 80s, 90s. Eric Allen, cornerback. He was absolutely a shutdown. He was what a lot of people thought Nnamdi Asomugha was supposed to be when he first signed with the Eagles from the Raiders. Like, that dude was a shutdown cornerback. I would 100% have him on our team this year. Especially, like, I know that the stats aren't in their favor. It's kind of more of the eye test a little bit, but I would say having him in our backfield would possibly solidify somewhat kind of okay, you know what I'm saying, zone type of safety. I'm sorry, zone type of secondary, I should say. But he was the stud, man. He was absolutely dominant. But for my down Eagles, like when we lose, I'm 100% depressed for the whole week, probably possibly until the next game actually kicks off. 100%. I hate Eagles losses. Like, I don't care who else is playing unless it's the Cowboys, Giants, Commanders. I hope they lose 100%. But when we like lost to the Kansas City Chiefs, it was to me it was a good game. First off, it was to me one of the best games ever seen. I have no problem with, you know what I'm saying, like the holding calls, anything like that. To me, I felt like some of the biggest things like going into the game was our special teams unit. Like, we were one of the worst in the league that year. Um, Offensively speaking, Kansas City Chiefs had, to me, a better offensive line. They kind of showed it in the Super Bowl with us not getting any real pressure, any sacks or anything. But it was just a good game. And a loss like that, like, you know, it's basically what comes after that. And I know that a lot of people haven't, you know, seen the Eagles get quite back to that level. But to me, I feel like it's good times in Phillies. I know a few years ago, like, with the whole Carson Wentz situation, even before then, the Chip Kelly situation, it's always been one, common denominator in that, and that's our GM, Howie Roseman. I 100% believe in him. And I know there's a lot of controversy with us heading into our bye week, week 5. It sucks that we got an early bye week. I hate it. But I think that, a lot of things are going to be addressed. Players are going to be healthy for one. But like I said, like I believe in our GM, Howie Roseman. More than anything, he will address our roster, our coaching situation. It's a lot. It's a lot. But like I said, when we're down, I'm depressed. I'm out until kickoff for the next game. But like I said, I believe in Howie Roseman.
No, that's definitely you. You're like, every time the Chiefs lose, he's like, yeah, I'm basically depressed until the next game. They better win the next game.
Or just outraged.
Yeah.
Or just outraged
Or
that
just
they're not
outraged,
playing
yeah.
well on a particular play or drive.
Yeah.
And then they'll fix it on the next one. It was because I had some disagreements with how they were performing at the start, and they whipped themselves into shape.
Yeah.
But the Chiefs also have a week 6 bye week, so we are also a victim to an early bye week, and not necessarily comes at a bad time. If anything, with what the Chiefs have experienced in injuries over the last couple weeks, it may actually be a good time to kind of sit at home for a while and evaluate everybody they have, because the trade deadline is fast approaching, and if they want to be able to add some people to the roster to kind of fill some missing holes, it may be good to not have a game in between that and try to take a player away from having to play a game that week. But Braxton, we appreciate you joining us for this first segment, and I'm sure you enjoyed getting to spout some Eagles knowledge on us and the people who watch us, and hopefully inspire some other people from other fan bases to kind of join up with us, or at least kind of experiment with us and see if we're able to get you or help you with something, and be able to do something that you like to do, or be in a space for the first time. So really appreciate you kind of dropping some knowledge on the people. Before we go ahead and move on to the next topic, make sure to like and subscribe and follow us on all of our social media platforms at Red Kingdom Media. If you're listening to this on Spotify, rate us 5 stars and share us on other social media platforms to let people know that you enjoy listening to us. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed and make sure to leave a like and a comment under the video, and interact with us and let us know that you enjoyed or didn't enjoy what we're giving out to you. If you would like to sit in the same position as Braxton here and talk about, say, your Chiefs fandom or an Eagles fandom or a Cowboys fandom, gasp, I went there. If you would like to come on and talk about any fandom whatsoever, there's a link in the description, and it has a form. If you fill that out, we can go ahead and schedule an invite with you to be able to have you on a future episode of the Home with Chiefs podcast. So if you are interested in possibly being on a future episode this or next season, make sure to hit that link in the description below. Maybe you'd also like to subscribe to our Substack. And Braxton, you didn't really go into much about that, but we have a daily update that comes out Monday through Friday that contains the kind of buzz topics around the NFL or sports world at that time during some slow months. The NFL is officially here, and we're 1 month past into the season, so we definitely have a lot of NFL coverage that we are covering on the daily. And speaking of daily, we have Daily Dale and Rod, who both have their own article series, which you can access on our paid Substack. If you give us $5 a month, you can have access to that Substack and those 2 articles a week. Obviously, during this possible coming bye week, there won't be a game to cover, but once the game starts cycling around, we have you covered in terms of Chiefs coverage. And last but not least, are you guys aware that we have some merch? We have t-shirts. They're nice. They're red. They're comfortable. We need you to buy them. We would like to have other styles of shirts and other designs for shirts, and we need to know that the demand is there. So there are 2 links that you can message Dale or myself personally. If you would like to acquire a shirt, please hit those links up in the description below, because we'd really love to swag you out. Let's go ahead and move on to our second topic, which is now officially the Chiefs talk enters the picture. It's a close call with the Chargers, where the Chiefs were able to escape LA for their 4th win, being the only AFC team in the league to be 4-0, where they were able to defeat the Chargers 17-10. So what do you make of the game, and who are your offensive and defensive MVP?
First and foremost, I do want to say 100%. I hope Rashid Rice is 100% healthy. Given how long he's going to be out or anything like that. But I thought that the Chiefs played an excellent game defensively. I thought, of course, that at first I thought Justin Herbert should not have played first off in the game, but the way that they were able to control the offensive linemen of the Chargers, but they had like 10 quarterback hits. Chris Jones had a couple of sacks, which leads me to my defensive player of the game. He needs to be talked about for defensive player of the year. I felt he was robbed a few years ago, but he was absolutely everywhere in the backfield all game against the Chargers. But honestly, offensively, they didn't start clicking until like this end of the second quarter. But it was Patrick Mahomes shuck off early. There were some turnovers that led to Chargers points. Their only points that they were able to score were off turnovers. But I think that I think that Patrick Mahomes played an excellent game. He was my offensive MVP. It was co-offensive MVP. Travis Kelce also was alive this game, 100%. He's back there. But I think that the Chiefs played an offense. I think they played an all-around good game, but defensively they were 10 toes down.
Yeah, I think they started off really rough, and it's unfortunate what happened to Rashid, and we just hope he gets well soon, and he gets the most care he can, because we really need him to be in the season, and we don't need him to miss any more of the season that he really would stand out in. I feel like he's just a big integral part of this team, and he will definitely be missed however long he's out. So all that being said, I think that the offense was really starting off rough, and they just really didn't have it together. Mahomes, he threw that interception, and he needs to not make mistakes like that. And I get he's a human being, but it's at this point they need to have more cohesive plays and stuff like that, where he doesn't make those rash decisions at the very last second. It's the rash decisions can be either magical or go completely opposite, and sometimes it goes completely the opposite way where we don't want it to. So they really need to fix that. But really, the offensive MVP, I think, I'm going to go with Travis Kelce, because I feel like he really showed off this game. He came back. He didn't listen to anyone who was he's washed or whatever. He's done. He came back and he showed us he's the same old Kelce. So he was really the one that stood out to me this game. And on defense, I feel like Tranquil showed up and he made like a couple mistakes, but he showed that he was like consistent most of the time, and that's what they need a lot more of on the defense. I feel like even though the defense did well, I feel like if the offense and defense be more consistent, then they're gonna have a really solid team.
Yeah, I get that. For me, it's unfortunate about Rashee Rice. Obviously, it's the number one takeaway from the game, and it sucks. And it was on a second straight turnover. This one by your quarterback, who's having a lot of issues. For me, I'm glad that the offense was able to kind of pivot their game plan, and Andy Reid, who notoriously never liked to lean on the run, had the most success running the ball, and that leads to my offensive MVP. And I'm giving it to Kareem Hunt because he's officially full circle. He maybe doesn't have quite the burst he used to have, but he has the speed and the power all the same. Just 6 years removed, a little older, a little wiser, a little more tread on the tires. So the Chiefs obviously need some more options at running back as well. But I think Kareem Hunt is primed to take over that spot that Pacheco was able to do. And I think Kareem is even deadlier in the passing game than Pacheco has shown himself to be. And if Andy chooses to utilize that as their game plan instead of just straight up the middle gut runs, I think the offense could be just as deadly. And I second that. I'm glad to see Travis Kelce's production is going up. And with Rashee Rice likely to be out for a long time, he will need all the targets and help he can get because he is their number one, and defenses know that. They always queue up on him, but he always finds a way to wiggle out of it. So if those three can kind of maintain their levels and if anything, kind of exceed expectations, I think we'll be all right. But I'm still, not opposed to a trade or some other extra talent coming to fill that wide receiver room, which is now 2 men down.
Yeah.
And they were your number 2 options going into the year. And I don't think you can put all that pressure on Xavier Worthy to be that number 1 target right now. You need him to kind of fade in the background and let his speed try to go unnoticed so you can take advantage of it later when it's going super unnoticed and you need kind of that big play like we were able to see in this game. If he's the primary target, you're not going to be able to see that, every single game or multiple times a game. It has to come randomly. Otherwise, teams are going to kind of lock that down. And if teams are worried about that, they're letting the running game kind of gash teams. So that's why I think Kareem Hunt was the ultimate winner of this game and maybe kind of the ultimate winner in general because he gets to join back with the team who let him go.
True.
And he's, picking up right where he left off in terms of his performance. And I would say Chris Jones, and you already took him. He was mine from the post game because his 2 sacks, and he played angry trying to get his sacks up after the NFL took a half sack away from him. He had to get 2 sacks of his own to make himself feel better about the situation.
Yeah.
But I think overall the secondary just looks tremendous. You can always hype up Trent McDuffie, and that'd always be a good idea. But I think Jalen Watson in this game in particular was very sneaky good. And, he can get got at times, but he also has the ability to lock down a wide receiver and you have to kind of play fearless. And our cornerbacks and our secondary does that. They're not afraid to hit and make tackles and get their hands dirty. And we're going to move on now to our final topic, which is discussing the Saints. I really, 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 really wanted to come up with a pun, but I just couldn't come up with something that had the alliteration of S and Saints. So discussing is the closest I'm just going to get, and it's what I had to settle on. So the Saints officially will travel to Arrowhead for Monday Night Football 1 week from now, as it is we're recording this episode 6 days once this video has officially dropped in your feed. So Braxton, what are your expectations for this exciting and explosive matchup?
I think it is 100% how Kansas City adjusts, obviously, to the Rice injury against New Orleans secondary. To me, they got a tough secondary. Obviously, Chiefs fans are familiar with Tyrann Mathieu. I think he has 1 or 2 picks this season. I know he picked off Jalen Hurts a few weeks ago, but I think it's Paula Davison, Davison. He's pretty good. Obviously, you got Marshawn Lattimore. I know he's been a little bit banged up a bit of times this past few weeks, but he's still back there. Demario Davis, he's still been playing at a Pro Bowl level. But I think it's really just the adjustments. Like I said, who's going to focus in on Travis Kelce? Like you said, holding in Worthy's speed. We'll see what's up. I'm a huge fan, to be honest with you, of Justin Ross. I know that he hasn't really taken the field that much over the past few years, but I just want to take it back a little bit. Like I seen him his freshman year at Clemson, and the dude was a baby TO there. We'll see how much he's involved. I know a lot of people are a little bit skeptical on Sky Moore, so we'll see how that plays into a factor. But I think you're 100% right. Putting in Kareem Hunt, like how much he's going to be a factor against New Orleans. Running game has been it's been okay for Kansas City so far this season, but I think that'll have to be a big staple if they want to get the win over us. New Orleans.
Yeah, I think if they can really come together and they really utilize their players to the most they can, the best of their abilities, I feel like they can pull off a win. But even then, I'm a little nervous because I know what happened this last game, and I know that they're prone to errors, especially just sporadically and randomly. So I don't know. It's a hard one to predict, but I think they're gonna barely squeak by with a win.
I agree. I think this is going to be even tougher matchup than it was on paper before we saw the outcome of Chiefs versus Chargers recently. Mm-hmm. The Saints have a really good defense, and they are, killer, especially on the defensive line. And their offensive line is starting to look as well too. The Saints are a team that is as keen on the run game as the Chargers are. So if you thought your game plan was good enough to beat the Chargers, you're going to need to kind of supercharge that if you're going to beat the New Orleans Saints. Obviously, they look vulnerable. They're not undefeated. They've been beaten once by our guest team in particular has won, and even most recently against the Falcons. So they can be beaten, but it's to say the NFC South is no longer bottom barrel, especially now that Carolina is starting to look more competitive now that Bryce Young is not the starter. But I think the Saints are going to be a tough matchup. I think they're going to be content on beating us in whatever fashion when they find that method of choice. And it's going to be, up to whose offense can make a play, because I think it's going to be a defensive showdown, much like Chiefs Chargers was. Mm-hmm. And Braxton can attest to this. He saw the team that the Saints had 40 plus points in the 2 games before playing the Eagles, and then the Eagles up to the fourth quarter had them to 0 points. So the NFL is strange like that, where a lot of things can flip and change. And I guess from my perspective, I'm hoping the Chiefs offense can kind of go through that resurgence. They have some players in place, and if they just kind of maneuver the game plan around those particular players, I think they have success. They just need to know that those adjustments need made now. And if they can't be made, then start looking for whoever you think can help you make those adjustments, because you've set out that the 3-peat's your mission. So
Yeah.
I don't think as a team you can expect to be as poor of performing and have as bad of a turnover margin as you have right now and expect to end the season on top, because statistics show if you perform at that level, that's not the level that you achieve at. So the Chiefs are underachieving right now, and we need them to be overachieving.
Yep.
And that'll do it for this episode of the Home of the Chiefs podcast. We appreciate you guys for watching, listening, tuning in, however and wherever. We appreciate you guys. We appreciate your viewership, your engagement. We're trying to get up to 500 subscribers on YouTube so we can do a jersey giveaway at the end of the season. So we'd really like you guys to make sure you're subscribed and catch up on all the action. Check out our live post games, check out our video essays, check out our vlog series, and check out our podcasts like this one. We really think that you'll enjoy it. And if you're not a Chiefs fan, we also feel like you'll enjoy it, or could possibly help us branch out in to an equivalent network for you and your fandom. So we just want to be kind of a place for the people. And that's why we really like you to hit up that link in the description so you can appear on this show and demonstrate your fandom, even if it's not the Chiefs. Because now we have it on the record that we have people non-Chiefs fandom who will come on and talk about their fandom and still, have a good time and keep it cordial. And I'm not opposed to going over enemy lines. So if there's other fans from the quote rival teams, we'll keep it cordial and respectful on here all the same, because that's what it's all about, is the community aspect. So with that being said, we appreciate you guys for watching or listening. I hope you have a great rest of your week. And as always,
fly, Eagles, fly.
Go Chiefs!
Thanks for checking out this update straight from the heart of Chiefs Kingdom. We appreciate your passion, so please leave a like and follow us wherever you tune in from. See you next tailgate, your trusted source for all things Chiefs, Red Kingdom Media.